Hey, so I wanted to post another video about my Epiphone Casino here that I've been doing a bunch of modifications to, kind of just tweaking it to my taste. So if you saw my last video, the big thing I did was I swapped the bridge pickup for this GFS NY II, and I'm still super happy with that. And so the reason I did that was because to me, these stock Epiphone
dog ear
P90s are just really muffled and honky and closed in the top end. And just like, it's kind of like an overwound kind of sound, which is, probably great for distortion stuff, but it's not really good for me for the stuff I do for clean stuff. So yeah, I'm super happy with this. A lot of the comments in the comparison, people are saying, "Oh, the new one's really grating. It hurts my ears." And so I probably shouldn't have listened, but I ended up swapping the pots with to 250K, which just gives it a little bit of a darker sound. And so it gives me that bright sound that I wanted. It gives me like a Gretsch with Dynasonics or like a Rickenbacker or anything with like that bright kind of single coil sound. And I actually also on the tone knob I put two different capacitors on a switch. So here's just totally bright. And then here's one of the capacitors. Can you hear the difference? It's really subtle. It's totally bright, and then this is a little darker. And then the other capacitor is even honkier. You can definitely hear that one. Really honky. I think that's like 800
hertz.
That honky sound. And totally open again. And so, yeah, so that would, I guess the idea with that is that I could do some sort of like, more classic Epiphone Casino like lead stuff. Where the bright sound is maybe better for rhythm stuff. Yeah, maybe that stuff sounds better with. So yeah, that at least I haven't used it a lot yet, but I definitely can kind of see the use for darkening the sound, and now I have both options. Whereas with the stock P90, I only had that dark sound, and now I can dial it in if I want. So moving on, the neck pickup is still the stock one. I did buy two of these, but just looking at it just seemed like too complicated to try to, because the height, it would need to be lower down, so I'd have to like route into the body to mount this kind of the other pickup countersunk. It was too complicated. It's beyond my skills. So I've still got this, and this one actually was always not as bad. It was always a little more open at the top, and so I always liked it a little bit better. It was always like, it was usable to me for what I do, especially for like a neck pickup. But I made three big changes to it. So for one, I did what's called a no-load tone pot mod, and so I just took the potentiometer, and you just slice the lead right at the end. There's videos that'll show you how to do it. Don't go off of my description. But basically what it happens then is that when the tone is at 10, it just has zero effect. So normally, even when the tone's at 10, you're still putting a load on the pickup. And so that opens up a little bit more, just like a tiny bit. And then another thing I did is I replaced the 500K volume pot for a 1 meg, which does the same thing. It just opens up the top end a little more. And I highly recommend, if you have like a pickup and you want to just kind of slightly revoice it, if it's a little too dark or a little too bright, just playing with the load in the circuit, is a really easy way to like make a huge effect. Well, I said a little bit and then I said huge, but depending on how far you go. But yeah, going from 250 to 1 meg, it's probably going to have a pretty noticeable effect. So it's still loud, it's still got that beefy bottom end of the P90, but the top end's just opened up a little bit more. And then finally, another thing I did is I put a treble bleed on the volume, and it's called a simple treble bleed. And the difference is that normally a treble bleed is a capacitor and a resistor together to kind of balance the effect as you turn the volume down. But if you just put a capacitor, basically, as you turn the volume down, it just gets brighter and brighter and brighter. You're basically lowering the volume of everything except for the high frequencies to stay the same the whole time. Except for there's eventually it all comes down though, because that more of the signal's just getting shorted to ground. So let me try to demonstrate. So you hear a lot of bass in that. I'll turn this down halfway. Huge difference. Cool early 60s sound on that. And so even more. So that's really quiet now. So what I do is I put it as like around 8. And that lets me balance the volume between this quieter pickup and the neck, and I feel like the frequency range as well. So before it was a problem that like if I set the amp for the neck pickup, the bridge was unusable. If I set the amp for the bridge pickup, the neck was unusable. And that was with the stock pickups. And now even with this brighter pickup at the bridge, if as long as I'm just taking that low end down out of the neck pickup, they balance really well. And so that's what I've been doing, like when I use this guitar, like shows and live, and then I can really easily, I have the 2 different flavors, and I don't have to worry about messing with the amp or that one's gonna be way louder than the other. But then I have the option, if I want to get even louder, to just kick it up, or if I want to get a brighter sound. It's very cool. So yeah, that's all I've done. Let's see. I'm playing 11s right now, flat wound 11s. They're not the D'Addario. They are another brand that I can't remember at the moment. But I really like them. I prefer them over the D'Addario. D'Addario always has like a weird sound to me, like a weird metallic sound, at least when they're new and they take a while to break in. But these sounded great right out of the box. I tried the half rounds, the 12 half rounds, and they're interesting. They're advertised as like somewhere between round wounds and flat wounds, and to me it's not at all. It's just like its own thing. It has a very distinctive sound to it, and also because they're like round wounds that have been filed flat. They're actually, I feel like they're more coarse and like sandpapery than round wounds are. It's really rough on the fingers, which isn't a big deal, but it's interesting. But the reason I went back to 11s on here is because the 12s just weren't giving me enough articulation and range with the Bigsby. You know, I really like, you know, I need that range. I need to be able to go. You know, I need it all. And yeah, with the 12s, it just pulled the bar that much closer to the guitar, and like I'd have to move it that much further, and I was just to get the same amount of bend, and also it wouldn't do as much. It just like this is the comfortable amount for the amount of whammy that I want to be able to do. So the 12s, it was sad. They definitely had a lot more, you know, playing acoustically on this thing, it sounded a lot better. It just had better sustain, better projection. It just, everything sounded more stable. Everything was way better, except for the whammy, the Bigsby. So it's a compromise. Plugged in, it's not that much of a difference. Like it's the 12s are better, but the 11s are fine. So yeah, those are the strings I'm playing, and yeah, one thing that's sad is that with the stock P90s, Epiphone Dog Ear P90s, the middle position sounds cool. It sounds really cool, and I lost that. And you watch other videos where people like swap out the pickups for better sounding pickups. The middle position suffers because like. I guess it's having the two really hot pickups in parallel. It's like it reduces. It makes it brighter because there's the two paths, and so for the middle position, it's like perfect. You get like this really quacky like sound that sounds great for like rockabilly or a lot of things actually. So yeah, this is my middle position right here. Sounds just like the bridge. I mean, not exactly, but that's the neck. Middle again. I mean, it's another sound, but it's not. It doesn't have that quacky sort of classic P90 middle position sound, which so that I miss. But it's worth it. I guess I can try turning the tone down. See if I get it then. It's not the same, right? Yeah, you just don't get that. You don't get that middle position quack anymore. But it's not a sound that I use a lot, so. It is what it is. I lost that, but I got a very usable bridge for the bright single coil sounds. So yeah, if you have an Epiphone Casino and you're bothered by how dark it sounds. Definitely start with the pots. No load, treble bleed, 1 meg. That is going to be, especially just learn to solder, learn the basics of the circuitry stuff. It's not that hard to learn. It's like water in a pipe. It's just you just follow it. Where does it go? It's not that complicated. And soldering, you can get a cheap soldering iron. You'll use it for the rest of your life, or get a slightly better one than cheap, but they're not expensive. Is my point, and it's a good skill to have. Anytime you need to fix something, a wire comes loose on a jack or anything, you could just do it. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. Thanks for watching, and if there's anything you guys want me to show or describe or talk about that that's eluding me now, just leave it in the comments. I can I can answer you there.